Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a challenge that, well, many of you probably face. It really touches anyone who's pouring their energy into, their community, their business, maybe a personal calling. And the core question, the one we're tackling, is this. How do those folks who are constantly giving their all, how do they also sustain themselves, without completely running on fumes? Our sources for this deep dive, they're quite a mix. Articles, some research, all focusing on mental health for, say, business owners, service leaders. And they really shine a light on how burnout, well, it isn't some kind of weakness. It's a very real threat. It can affect pretty much anyone, doesn't matter what your role is or how passionate you are.
Right. And what these sources consistently point out is that old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's more than just a nice phrase. Like, when leaders are depleted, studies actually suggest their decision-making accuracy can drop quite significantly, in fact. So it hits not just their own well-being, but, the whole organization, team morale, effectiveness, all of it. It's not just about feeling good. It's measurable, a real factor in whether you can keep making an impact long term.
Absolutely. So our mission today really is to pull out the most useful wisdom, the surprising bits from these sources. We want to equip you with practical tools, maybe a deeper understanding for your own journey towards, sustainable wellness. The goal is for you to walk away with ideas you can actually use, not just awareness. Okay, so interestingly, our sources kick things off with this powerful symbolic frame. They call it the color of the day. And for this discussion, that color is yellow. Now, it's not just about being cheerful. In this context, yellow has a much deeper meaning. It stands for clarity, for balance, that feeling of light breaking through when the mental fog just feels too thick. Yeah, like the sun finally cutting through clouds after maybe a long stretch of strain. It gives you that renewed perspective, maybe some calm.
hmm And that symbolism, it connects directly to that profound need for, mental clarity, emotional equilibrium, especially when you're facing all those demands of leadership or service. Our research really points to how easily that fog can just settle in, clouds your judgment, makes even small decisions feel, overwhelming. So yellow then, it's like this potent reminder, actively seek out those moments, cultivate balance, clear-headedness. It's absolutely essential for navigating the tough stuff actively.
The need for clear-headedness. Well, wow, it's really brought home in one of the most compelling stories from our sources, the story of Pastor James. It just vividly illustrates the kind of silent struggles so many leaders face, or really anyone in a demanding role. So picture Pastor James, deeply, deeply devoted to his congregation, inspiring sermons on Sunday, sure, but then weekdays, visiting hospitals, offering comfort, prayer. He was always the first person there when someone needed help. Just a tireless service. On the surface, it looked like, total selflessness, the kind of dedication we often admire, maybe even expect.
Yeah, that expectation is key.
But underneath all that visible commitment, there was this hidden burden, a really crucial detail most people just didn't know. Pastor James also worked a full-on, demanding 9-to-5 job, just to pay the bills. Simple as that. So the ministry, that was his calling, his passion, absolutely his purpose. But the job, that was survival, pure survival. So you can just imagine the massive dual pressure there.
It's intense. And what's fascinating here, or maybe concerning, is that inherent pressure leaders feel, especially in service roles that need to always seem strong, capable, totally resilient. Our sources show that societal expectation often forces people to mask these huge, quiet struggles. And that facade, well, it's meant to inspire confidence, right? But it just makes the burden heavier, makes it incredibly hard to ask for help, or even accept it when it's offered, even when you desperately need it.
Yeah, it's like vulnerability gets mistaken for weakness.
Exactly, a really heavy expectation.
So Pastor James, for a while, he just tried to juggle both these huge responsibilities. He'd go from, delivering these powerful sermons straight into demanding work shifts and trying to be present for his family through it all. He just kept pushing past the exhaustion, telling himself, faith would get him through sheer willpower. Any sign of slowing down felt like failing somehow.
But the body keeps score, doesn't it?
It really does. And as our sources constantly remind us, it often has the final say. For him, it reached this dramatic, unavoidable point. One Sunday, middle of the service, right there at the pulpit delivering his sermon, Pastor James just collapsed, fainted.
Wow.
His body just hit its absolute limit, shut down.
And that physical collapse, it wasn't just some random unfortunate event. It was a critical wake-up call, undeniable. It starkly showed the severe toll, physical and mental, that just ignoring burnout can take. And our research really makes you ask, doesn't it? How many people are basically waiting for a similar crisis, a total breaking point, physical or emotional, before they actually confront their own well-being. It's such a common pattern, but often tragic. Ignoring those early signs until the whole system just overloads.
That moment, that collapse, it forced Pastor James to face this truth he couldn't ignore anymore. He literally could not keep pouring into others if his own cup was completely dry. And this wasn't just like a personal realization, it was fundamental. A shift in how he approached everything. He started setting boundaries, real essential boundaries, something he'd thought was impossible before.
Learning to say no, perhaps?
Exactly. And he learned to lean on his church community, actually let them support him, let them give back. And crucially, he started protecting his own wellness with the same kind of dedication he gave his ministry.
And looking at Pastor James's story through the lens of our sources, it's really not a story of failure. Not at all. It's actually a powerful example of strategic reevaluation. For sustainable leadership, it shows that real, lasting strength isn't about silently enduring until you break. It's about wisely managing your energy, your resources, acknowledging that self-preservation isn't selfish, it's necessary. And that offers such a practical lesson for you listening right now. Acknowledging your limits, seeking support that can actually deepen your capacity, make you more effective in the long run, not less.
That reevaluation he went through, it really highlights that point. But let's zoom out a bit. Beyond Pastor James's specific story, what are the broader lessons? What do our sources say about this kind of strategic self-care for everyone?
Well, they really hammer home this message. Wellness isn't optional. It's not a luxury add-on. It's non-negotiable. A prerequisite for anyone trying to make a sustained impact. Doesn't matter if you're leading a company, serving a community, or just, trying to show up as your best self for the people around you. Neglecting it, that doesn't just hurt you. It ripples out. Affects everything you're trying to do, everyone you're trying to serve.
Absolutely. And when we really dig into let's say, the true cost of ignoring wellness, our sources paint a very clear picture. It's not just about professional setbacks or, financial strain. Those are often there. It goes deeper. It's a profound erosion of health, physical and mental, a clouding of clarity, a real disturbance of inner peace. And this is exactly why that idea, balance is strategy, not selfishness, is so vital. Prioritizing your well-being, that's a strategic investment, an investment in your long-term ability to lead, to innovate, to stay resilient when things get tough, and ensures you actually have the energy to keep making the difference you want to make.
Yeah, that focus on strategy, on practicality is so important. Which brings us nicely to a really concrete tool, something immediately accessible for managing well-being that our sources highlight. Intentional breath work. Seriously, it's something you can do right now, wherever you happen to be listening. Okay, so the specific technique they outline, it's remarkably simple, but don't let that fool you. It's effective. You inhale slowly, count of 4, then gently hold that breath, another count of 4, and then exhale deliberately for a count of 6. That longer exhale is important.
4, 4, 6.
4, 4, 6. It's this rhythmic practice designed to consciously tap into your body's calming system. The parasympathetic nervous system shifts you out of that stress response.
And the why it matters bit here, as our sources explained it, is profound. This kind of intentional breathing, it helps recalibrate both your body and your mind. It's like sending this powerful internal message. I'm safe, I'm steady, I don't have to carry all of this alone. Physiologically, it literally reduces stress hormones, promotes calm, and psychologically, it creates this crucial pause, a moment to regain control, recenter your thoughts. It's such a simple technique, but it really gives you that aha moment, reminds you of the power you have right here, right now, to ground yourself, even when things feel chaotic, to consciously regulate how you feel.
And speaking of not carrying it all alone, let's just quickly circle back to Pastor James for a second. Remember, a huge part of his recovery was realizing he could lean on his church community.
Yes, that support was vital.
And finding strength there, that wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Recognizing the power of, shared responsibility, which really highlights this broader idea from the sources, this concept of caring together, how crucial that is for sustained wellness. Support systems, they aren't just nice to haves, they're like foundational pillars for resilience.
Absolutely essential.
And our sources actually give examples. They mention Kathy Hare and something called the unique umbrella effect, which sounds intriguing, but it seems to refer to things like structured peer mentoring groups, confidential spaces, curated events, places designed for entrepreneurs, for leaders to actually share vulnerabilities, talk about strategies openly.
Creating those safe spaces.
Exactly. Spaces where people don't have to just grind away in silence. It really illustrates that kind of community support that reinforces the message. You don't have to carry it all by yourself.
Precisely. and our sources, they consistently emphasize how critical it is to actively seek out and build these kinds of support networks. It's not just about getting practical help, though that's part of it. It's fundamentally about fostering that psychological resilience, that emotional strength. When you feel connected, truly connected to a supportive community, you directly fight back against isolation, which we know is a huge driver of burnout. You create this vital safety net, helps you weather challenges much more effectively. It's all about leveraging that collective strength. Instead of trying to shoulder every single burden alone, that leads to much more sustainable growth, personally and professionally.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, the central takeaway, it feels profoundly clear, doesn't it? Protecting your own wellness. It isn't just about feeling comfortable or taking a break now and then. It is the absolute foundation, the pillar holding up your purpose, your mission, your ability to keep serving others effectively over the long haul. That core truth echoed across all our sources. You simply cannot keep giving, keep pouring out from a place of depletion, from an empty cup.
You really can't. And maybe here's a final thought, something provocative perhaps for you, our listener, to sort of mull over. What if real strength, what if it isn't actually defined by how much burden you can endure alone in silence, but maybe true strength lies in the wisdom to manage your own well-being proactively and to intentionally lean on the support systems that are there to lift you up? So consider this.
Okay.
What small step, what small but really impactful boundary can you choose to set today, right now? Something to ensure you can keep protecting your purpose for all your tomorrows.
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Till next time.